TG Geeks, episode 111, March 25th, 2017. Episode 111? What are we, whining? Hello, and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we are coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona.
Hello! I like how you did that.
Hello.
Hello. And I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from We're Parents Again.
Yes.
Of TG Square Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona. I mean, we have two new kitties.
We brought two new kitties home.
Yes.
Yeah, we rescued them from the PetSmart. They'd been there for several weeks. They were actually abandoned there at the PetSmart. And we'd seen them a number of weeks ago, and we had promised them that they would have a new home or a good home. And then we wound up bringing them home.
Yeah,
so
that's us.
They actually kind of perked up whenever they saw us this time, and it was enough.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, but when we walked in, one of them, Buster, actually, he and I made eye contact.
Yeah.
Even though there was a lot of hustle and bustle going on in that room, he and I did make eye contact, so that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of neat. So one's a little tabby, and his name is Buster, and then one's a big black kitty with yellow eyes, and his name is Bagheera.
Right.
So anyway, the weird whining, the 111.
Oh, wow, that's an inside joke.
That goes way back.
Way back in the days of pagers.
19 years ago or so.
About.
Or more.
Before text messaging
Yeah,
was
before
vogue.
text messaging, way back in the pager days, and before even the digital pagers where you could send a text message.
Right, and when cell phones were still in their infancy at the time, too.
Yeah, we kind of adopted this thing of 111, 111 was whining. So it was whine, 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 whine. Anyway, so that's kind of where
you had to have been there.
Had to be there, yeah. We're old. So we have some interesting news and a few things, so we're just going to get right to it.
Well, unless you're living in a cave or, I don't know, hiding out in some alien spaceship up in the North Pole, the Justice League trailer is out.
Justice League? What's that?
I can't believe you just said that.
Who's that? Is that a Archie Comics thing?
Oh, you wound me. You wound me by saying that.
Or Scooby-Doo? Is this the Scooby Gang?
Well,
maybe.
It might be by the time Warner Brothers gets done with it.
Yeah, ruh-roh.
Yeah, ruh-roh, Raggy. I mean, by the way this whole thing has been going lately. Yeah, Runner Woman.
That was good. Anyway, you made me laugh.
That made you laugh. So, the Justice League. This is something. This is Warner Brothers' answer to what Marvel's been doing.
Yeah.
With their big superhero pantheons, and of course, their big monstrous success with Avengers.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers has been doing. They've been releasing superhero films, and we talked about this on the Slice days way back when. And Warner's decided they wanted to do a completely different approach. Now, they kind of started off their whole thing with bringing in Man of Steel, and then they gave us Batman versus Superman, and then they said, okay, now you're going to get your Justice League. So, yeah, the kind of let's show the entire group, and then we'll give you the individual heroes after that.
Yeah, right.
Which I think is a very weird idea. I don't care for it. But, hey, they want to do it differently.
Yeah.
So differently is right, and this trailer's different.
Yeah, and that trailer yesterday dropped right at 8 a.m. Pacific time, and I was watching the websites, and so I grabbed the feed from YouTube and published it at 8:02. So
8:02 our time.
Yeah, So we jumped right on it. That didn't help anything.
No, I'm shocked. I'm
Oh,
shocked.
well.
Maybe if we had published it 45 minutes later, maybe it would have been different.
Yeah, you never know.
Yeah, because then everybody was jumping on it. And it was like,
Exactly.
then everybody saw that one. It's like,
Oh, well. Whatever.
well,
Whatever.
whatever. You know, you can't win for
was
the.
kind of late to the party anyway.
This
so.
time we were early to the party and nobody was there.
Yeah, exactly.
Go figure. I mean, the hosts weren't even there. Gee.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it was an interesting trailer.
Yeah,
interesting.
it is an interesting. It's a nice little trailer. We do have it on the website, as Keith pointed out, so you can always go check it out there. We'll have the link for that in the show notes. But what were some of the things you took? Oh, go ahead.
Our trailer doesn't have the annoying ad before it that some other websites do. So,
Yeah,
just so you know.
Exactly. Now, you saw it first, obviously. I was working, so
Yeah.
I couldn't watch it at the time.
Actually, I didn't watch it until after I'd posted it. I saw it, and I grabbed the link, and I published the article, and then I finally watched it. So
hey, when you're in a rush, what can you do?
Yeah, so I thought it was interesting. I thought that Superman was missing.
Well, imagine that.
Well, I know.
Oh, spoilers. He's dead.
What? Superman is dead?
Well, if you watch Yawn of Justice,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
he died at the end
movie,
of that.
That movie.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah, he did.
And Justice League is sort of a sequel to that movie.
Ah, okay.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
So it's no real big surprise that we don't have a Superman as of yet.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't keep a good Superman
Right,
down.
Exactly.
You know he's going to be coming back.
You know he's going to be in there somewhere.
And Justice League, this is a 2-part film.
Oh, I see.
This is part 1.
So he may not be. He may be in Justice League: The Gathering.
The Gathering. Okay, I got nothing. I was desperately working on a joke there, but I just couldn't come up with one right at that point.
No, I thought it was interesting. It was just the way they kind of introduced everybody, and
okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Just looking at the trailer and from an artistic standpoint, and you've been to all the Marvel movies, with me when we've seen them. Purely from a visual aesthetic, is there anything that stood out or you thought should have stood out?
It was dark.
Thank you.
I mean, it just dark palette.
Uh-huh.
And I get tired of that.
I'm very weary of that. I don't care for that very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too. That seems to be the pattern.
I mean, I don't mind that for certain scenes or, for a reason, but the whole thing.
Desaturation.
Yeah.
Yuck. Don't care for it. But
It covers a lot of sins.
Aha. Including the directors. Whoops, I'm sorry. Guess we're not.
Say that?
Well, we're not going to be getting
We're not
interviews
gonna
out
be
of that
invited
guy
to
now.
that one.
No Warner Brothers screenings for us. Sorry.
Oh, well.
Anyway, moving right along.
Moving right along.
Robert Downey Jr., who is like...
Wasn't he in Soap Dish?
Wow! I'm impressed.
Has he done anything since then?
Okay, now I'm not impressed. I take that back. But I'm impressed that you remembered Soap Dish, one of my favorite comedies.
Well,
okay,
the birthdays will make sense.
Oh, okay. I haven't looked at the birthdays yet, so I have no idea. Okay, cool. All right.
Anyway.
In any case, but yes, he was in Soap Dish, and that's one of my favorite comedies ever. I mean, if you really want a good laugh, and Sally...
Oh, my Lord.
And Sally Field at her funniest,
Oh,
watch
my.
that movie.
Yes.
She's hilarious in it.
Yes, it is great.
It is a great movie, and I think maybe we need to see it again, because
Yes.
it's been several years.
Oh, yeah.
In any case, I mean, he's kind of like Mr. Franchise Guy.
Yeah.
I mean, with the Marvel films, and then he's already done 2 Sherlock Holmes films, and it's a third one that being held by Guy Ritchie again. So he's going to be doing a third one with Jude Law, and now he's looking at a 4th one. This time, playing Dr. Dolittle of all characters.
Dr. Dolittle. Interesting.
Yes, according to the Hollywood Reporter, Downey Jr. wants to take a crack at a potential new franchise for himself by agreeing to star in a film called The Voyage of Dr. Dolittle, and this would be for Universal Pictures. And of course, this is again based on the physician, the animal doctor, Dr. Dolittle, who is from a 1920 series of children's books by Hugh Lofting. And this is not the first Doctor Dolittle movie. I mean, there was More recently, Eddie Murphy did 2 films.
Yeah.
Which I think maybe had a very specific audience. And then back in 1967, now this is the movie that I recall, was the musical starring Rex Harrison, which according to, I believe it was, the Hollywood Reporter said that was a bust. That movie was no good, which I can't understand why it was. And you're looking at a YouTube trailer or YouTube something. Oh no, is that Hippie and Lippy?
Yes, the Hippie and Lippy, the hippopotamus says, from the Dr. Dolittle Talk to the Animals vinyl album.
No, I didn't know that's where it came from.
Yes, and that was what my little brother had to listen to.
That's all I know is about it. Is that Kurt loved it.
Yeah, Kurt loved it. Hippie and Lippy, hippopotamuses,
hippopotami. Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so you think that's going to be in that film?
I hope not. Well, may have to. We will not be able to drag Kurt out of that theater if we do. Yeah. This is going to tap into his inner child in a way like we've never seen before.
Yeah. And by the way, my little brother is 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So anyway, so going back to this film, Universal did win the rights to make The Voyage of Dr. Dolittle. Apparently there was a big bidding war, but Universal grabbed it. So they're going to be making this film. There is no release date at this present time. But if anybody is like really having Robert Downey Jr. withdrawals, hey, don't worry. We've got plenty of him coming up in the near future because he will be reprising his signature role as Tony Stark / Iron Man in the Marvel Sony film Spider-Man, as well as coming back in Marvel's Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah.
So we got plenty of him coming back. Now, since we talked about upcoming films, upcoming movie releases, this is a topic you and I talked about it last night after dinner.
Yeah.
I was fascinated by this story, and apparently movie rentals, they're kind of not doing so well. Same thing with the fall of DVD and Blu-ray sales.
Yeah, I just read an article in the Los Angeles Times this morning. Actually, it was was it? Yeah, it was this morning that was
Yeah,
run.
you were telling me about it.
And it said that the business model is changing, and they talked about, a number of turnovers in executives at several of the big studios, and Sony and not Sony, but Paramount, Sony, and Fox have removed or replaced their top executives in the last year.
Were these big executives? I mean, because that are in charge of like home video or home distribution.
No, they're in charge of the studio
just
itself.
in charge of the studio.
Right. And they talked about the fact that television is becoming the big thing and digital is becoming the big thing, and people are not willing to go to the theaters anymore. And while the theaters have not experienced a downturn in revenue themselves, other than just an incremental, just slower times, but it's the big blockbusters like the Marvel films, and they singled out the Walt Disney Company as being the one that's led the market. I mean,
look at what they own.
Look at Beauty and the Beast and Star Wars and all of this big stuff. And they're focusing on these tentpole blockbusters that some of them have tanked, if you will. So it just those types of things, and then the fact that you were talking about DVDs and whatnot have changed the face of everything. So go on with what you were saying.
No, but that's an interesting comment. I'm glad you brought all of that up. Now. There has been some discussion about possibly making movies available for home watching within weeks after they hit the theater on their first run. Now, what they're talking about doing is maybe $30 per rental, and a lot of people
as a one-time rental.
Well, that's all they're saying. The article basically states, and this came from Variety. It's stating that, and if anybody wants to read this article, it is on our website, and we'll have the link in the show notes. But it's basically saying that in an effort to breathe new life into this, some studios are now reportedly considering the idea of offering $30 home video rentals after a film plays in theaters for a few weeks. And that's all it's really saying at this present time. Now, then it talks about what other studios seem to think. Disney does not seem to be all that much invested in it, but why would they?
Exactly, because they're making their money on.
They're making huge. I mean, look at what they've been doing. I mean,
this is. I think they're cutting their nose off to spite their face, because the theater is. You can bring in a lot of people into that, and that's where on repeated viewings,
Yeah.
and do they really want to make the theaters mad?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good point you bring that up. Because
really,
I'm glad you brought that up, because
then the theaters are going to start saying, "Well, to heck with such and such pictures. We're not going to run their films anymore."
It's interesting you bring that up, because Sean Parker, who was one of the co-founders of Facebook, along with Mark Zuckerberg, Sean is looking at putting together. At least he mentioned this last year. Putting together a company, and he had Napster backing him up on it,
right?
Called the Screening Room.
Yeah.
And what they were going to be doing is they were going to be offering for $50. You could actually it's a $150 to buy the equipment, and then a $50 viewing fee per film. But they would be bringing in movies right from the moment they debuted.
Right.
And this is where it varies from, say, what this article that Variety was talking about, that the studios are interested in, about how they're looking at just making these movies available within weeks after they've hit the theater. So I think what they're trying to do, what the studios now are looking at, is maybe trying to find some ways to placate the theaters, because there are always those people, they want to catch the movie on a first run. They want to see it opening night. And who doesn't? Especially if it's going to be a blockbuster film. No one wants to wait 3 weeks for it to come out, and then pay $30 so you can watch it at home. No one necessarily wants to do that.
Right.
So I think this is maybe an attempt to try and maybe placate both the movie houses as well as the studios. Now, as we were saying, Disney not on board, and they don't have any real reason to want to be on board, because they're making their money back hand over fist.
Right.
With everything that they've got. I mean, their own individual films, as we've seen, Beauty and the Beast it's number one again for the second week in a row.
Right.
And of course, their animated films are still huge hits. I mean, you and I just watched Moana.
Right.
Wow, I was about to really make a mess out of that one. You were ready to jump on me too. The way you were poised, I was watching you. You were ready to jump on me, and I was like, "Oh, I'm about to make an idiot out of myself." Okay, watch out. But yeah, but they've got but they've had other films too. I mean, they've got the Marvel, which have been nothing but huge successes at every turn. They've had 2 Star Wars releases with The Force Awakens, and then more recently with Rogue One, which was a massive hit. They've got the Indiana Jones films, which they're about to start cranking out again.
Yep.
Disney has no reason to want to play ball with this. Other studios, however, they're certainly taking a look at it, because maybe they're not doing quite so well. Right. Warner Brothers, they might be willing to pay, a pony up and get involved in this a little bit, because their movies haven't been doing as well as they would have liked.
Yeah, they talk about in this article, it says mid-budget movies in particular have been a casualty of the see it now or see it never marketplace. And it says, blah, 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 domestic, a similar fate befell a couple of films. And it says when you have movies that are get around to it movies, people don't get around to it until it's on home video or Netflix, and which is included in a subscription fee that they've paid a pittance for.
Now this brings up a really, really good point.
And then the next paragraph says, compounding matters, Hollywood executives confront rising competition from Silicon Valley. Says a growing fear is that the tech giants such as Google and Apple will expand their entertainment business by making and distributing their own movies and TV shows the way Netflix and Amazon do. Says the specter of even greater competition from Silicon Valley prompted Time Warner to agree to sell to AT&T last fall.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's just, wow.
But there is...
The landscape is changing.
It's totally changing. Now, there is one thing to consider. And I'm gonna call back a memory and see what kind of reaction this is going to give you. Opening night, Matrix Reloaded. You remember what was going on with that in that theater?
Was that the screaming children running up
yes,
and down the...
exactly.
Oh, yeah. Literally running up and down the aisles.
Now, we had been seeing that. Now, recently, it's not been so bad with the movies we've been going to, but we've also been going to a lot of press screenings, so it's not been quite as obvious. But, when we Beauty and the Beast, we actually caught in the theater. We didn't catch a press screening for that. We saw that pre-opening night, but it wasn't a press screening, and yet the audience was well behaved. We've been to a lot of movies, that are for public buy-in, and the audience lately has been well behaved. But in years past, I cannot tell you the number of times we have gone to a movie and the audience was awful.
Yep. I mean, just children at an R-rated movie. I mean, young children.
Oh, we're talking
and screaming children.
Yeah, we're talking under the age of 8.
Yeah.
For an R-rated film.
4.
Well,
for some of them.
Well, yeah. Well, some of them are bringing their kids in carriers.
It's like,
toddlers, infants.
What?
I understand sometimes it's hard to get a babysitter, and maybe this is where maybe this is where the model comes in handy. If you've got a really big family, and if you really want to entertain the kids, the big movies coming out, and with kids watching television, and of course, trailers are always being run on television.
Right.
Kids see the trailers for, Mommy and Daddy, the new Beauty and the Beast movie's coming out. Can we go see it? Can we go see it? And now, if this model were to actually work, and movies are made available on opening night, I don't see this happening. I don't see this working really well.
Yeah,
if it's several weeks after the fact.
Yeah,
to be honest,
there's also the other thing to consider. There is, number one, it would be great for those families that have larger families.
Yes,
they can rent $30, and they don't have
to pay
even if it's children,
$50
or $50. They don't have to pay for the children. They don't have to spring for drinks and snacks and whatnot like that. And so it makes it easier for some families to see a film. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yet, once again, they're making their theaters mad.
Yeah, what's the theater going to do?
A theater, they don't make their money off of...
no.
They do not make their money
No, they make their money
off
off concessions.
They make it off of concessions. I mean, popcorn is 700% profit.
Exactly. So I understand why the theater might be why they may object. I think, on the other hand, there are purists, though, and I don't see that going away anytime soon, to the point where it would actually damage the movie-going experience. Everything boils down to the almighty dollar, however. Can people afford to actually go? That's really the kicker in all of this. So following this up, of course, the big question then becomes, what does this do to the home video market?
Right.
I mean, how will that have an impact? And the other thing that this article discusses is DVD and Blu-ray sales have just been taking a hit.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are wondering, well, gee, why is that going on? Well, I mean, you've got other means by which these movies are available to watch.
Right.
I mean, like, we just watched Finding Dory again just a couple of nights ago, and we watched it on Netflix because Netflix has got this exclusive deal with Disney.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know how much time had elapsed between when the movie was made available for home purchase or home rental, whatever, before Netflix finally got their hands on it. I can't imagine it would have been that long, since Netflix does have that exclusive contract.
Yeah.
So I can't think it must have been that long because I haven't checked when we did see Finding Dory. I don't know how long ago that was. I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember. It was over a year ago.
I guess.
But yeah.
But in any case, still, I mean, we were able to watch it that way. But so the big question then becomes, what's going on with Blu-rays and DVDs? I mean, and for the longest time, we've got this exclusive bonus content now. Well, hey, surprise, you're not the only player on the field anymore.
Right. There's the digital content from iTunes,
right?
And everybody else that Amazon and
even Amazon's beginning to now offer bonus material through their streaming content. But definitely iTunes and Apple, that is, I think, really the big contributor to this. They're the ones who are really changing, I think, the movie watching landscape now. I mean, when you can buy a film that is roughly the same price,
right,
but get it 2 to 3 weeks before it comes out in a physical form.
Right.
Wow. Now, I'll admit, every once in a while, there may be something that says, oh, I really want to hold off and wait. Like when Doctor Strange came out. I wanted to get my hands on the Steelcase edition that only Best Buy was going to sell.
But not a Best Buy in Arizona.
No. Or anywhere in the world, for that matter, because little did I know at the time that those...
they made 45 copies available.
And they were all sold out in 30 minutes. Something like that. Apparently there was a line that went outside the Best Buy, the nearest one to where we live, and they were sold out within an hour of the Steelcase editions. I didn't know that. And had I known that was going to happen, I would have blown the whole thing off as a bad idea, and I would have bought it when it was made available in iTunes. Instead, I chose not to because I really wanted
we had to wait to watch it again.
Well, you did.
And we haven't watched it again yet.
Well, you haven't because you've been away.
You watched it without me?
And not that I have any problem. Like, I haven't seen it already. You were with me.
Oh, that's right. That was in IMAX, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And you liked it.
Yes, I did.
So there's nothing to say we can't watch it again.
I know. I'm just teasing you.
But had it not been for the whole Steelcase thing, I would have purchased it on digital release long ago. I mean, a number of films I just seen. Oh, sod the DVD Blu-ray thing. I'm just going to buy it on physical form. Buy the electronic form right away.
Yeah,
so I'm kind of thinking, if the Blu-ray DVD people, if they want to make their really kind of cut that market a little bit, hey, I got a great idea. Why not reverse it and sell your product like 2 to 3 weeks before iTunes does?
Yeah, there you go.
Do that.
I don't understand the whole, why they're pushing the physical media. Well, but still, even if they're paying a fee or a discounted rate to iTunes or whatever, they still got the same thing. They got the packaging and the licensing and all the other stuff that they got to pay Best Buy to carry the damn thing. So,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
I know. And the one good thing to be said about buying it purely digital, 2 words: land and fill. Thank you very much.
Yes. Let us know what you think about this emerging trend in the marketplace. We'll be happy to hear what you have to say about it and what you think.
This is Gareth David Lloyd, Yanti from Torchwood, Solus from Dragon Age, and Jacob Fitz from I Am Alone, and you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
And here's a few selected birthdays for March 27th through April 2nd, 2017. March 27th is Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, I now we need to watch Kill Bill Parts 1 and 2 again, because I love those movies, and Tarantino's awesome.
Yep. Also, March 27th, Nathan Fillion.
Well, that's interesting, considering a story that's coming up.
Yeah, and Michael York, and Tony Banks.
Of Genesis.
And Gloria Swanson, 1897.
Gloria Swanson.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sally Fields.
Exactly, from Soap Dish.
Soap Dish.
Don't put me in a turban.
Turban? I look like Gloria effing Swanson.
Yeah.
Although she doesn't say effing.
Yeah. Anyway, March 28th, Gareth David Lloyd, who we just heard in our bumper there. Also, Reba McEntire and Lady Gaga.
Radio Gaga. Thank you. Wow, that gives a whole new meaning to Queen.
There we go. Exactly. March 29th, Lucy Lawless. And no, we're not going to open the Xena article back up.
No. Watch that blow up again.
Exactly. It's like we were getting 12 hits a day on the Xena article that was like 2 years old. What the hell was wrong with that? Anyway, Also on March 29th, Mr. Eric Idle and Cy Young on the 29th. He's born in 1867.
Wow.
It's like just days before opening day, just a couple of days before opening day.
Imagine that.
Baseball. It's just, kind of one of those curious little things. Curiouser and curiouser. March 30th, Robbie Coltrane, Eric Clapton, John Aston, and Vincent van Gogh, 1853. March 31st, Shirley Jones.
Oh, Mama Partridge.
Yeah, and Cesar Chavez and Colin Farrell. And Franz Joseph Haydn, born in 1732. And also on March 31st, Rene Descartes was born in 1596.
I think, therefore, I am.
Yes, you know that Rene Descartes walked into a bar and the bartender says, "You have a beer?" And he says, "I think not."
And he disappeared.
No.
Puff of smoke.
Puff of smoke. April 1st, Debbie Reynolds.
Oh, there was they just had the memorial for her.
Yeah.
And a friend of ours, Worthy, was down there. Yeah. He was at the memorial and he said it was just everybody was just boo-hooing the entire time.
I'm sure.
Because it was for both Debbie and Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, it was too bad. Also on April 1st, Grace Lee Whitney of Star Trek fame and Lon Chaney,
Sr.,
born in 1883. April 2nd, we have Michael Caine, Clark Gregg, and Sir Alec Guinness. And that is the birthdays for this time.
Technorama, the podcast for geeks, because geeks are better than cool. You don't hear someone say, "Get away from me, you cool person." Who's gonna have their 65-inch home theater system installed by the Cool Squad? Not me, that's for sure. How much cool cred do you have? Not enough to care about. Think you'll find any canned unicorn meat at thinkcool.com?
Yes!
It's just a part domain name.
Oh, darn.
They don't even have roadkill in a paper cup.
Oh, shucks.
That's why you need to start listening to Technorama, because that's what geeks do. Go to chuckchat.com and listen to Technorama before you turn cool.
I'm on it.
Go give a listen to our friends Chuck and Craig over at Technorama, and I played that because Chuck's birthday is actually today of this recording, or yesterday as of you're listening.
If you're listening to it on the day
if you're
released.
listening to it on Monday.
Yes.
The 27th. Anyway, chuckchat.com, Technorama. The dancing droids.
Yes. So we got some feedback and we're still playing a little bit of catch up from the time we were away. And this first one is in regards to episode 109.
109.
Which was like 3 months ago. At least that's how it feels. And we talked about Running Lady Studios, and give people a little bit of a refresher about that.
Running Lady Studios is somebody that I went to high school with, Miss Devette C. You can look her up at Running Lady Studios on YouTube.
There you go.
She's a wonderful, wonderful person.
Anyway, our friend Tommy Cannon said that Running Lady Studios has some great character designs. I have to admit that I snorted when I saw the Dancing Dude in Briefs character from their 2016 reel. Fun stuff. Well, I'm sure she'd be happy to know that.
Yeah. I'll send Yvette a note.
Oh, she'll like that, yes. And then moving up to our last episode, 110, where we talked a little bit about Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast.
And we got some feedback from your sister.
My sister. My favorite sister.
Your only sister.
No.
And she wrote, John and I, now John's her husband, she said, John and I saw Beauty and the Beast and really enjoyed it. I teared up twice and kind of felt silly. Hey, we sobbed.
It's okay.
We cried.
Yeah.
So what? But it was nice to be able to leave reality for a little bit and watch something that I knew would work out in the end. It also took me back to the joy I felt when the kids were little. I would see it again. You mentioned the closing credits. My favorite was Chip. The picture of him as the cup and as himself were just adorable.
Yeah.
Aw. Yes. Now, it's interesting that we should have the Nathan Fillion birthday because we recently, some time ago, we ran a story about how it might be possible to get more Firefly. And I will just quickly say, we had the article, and there is some kind of a movement. I mean, the folks at Fox, Fox at Folks,
Fox at Folks? What?
Yeah, the folks at Fox Studios often ask if they would ever be, people are asking, would you be willing to make a reboot of Firefly or at least revisit the original with some more episodes? And according to Fox President of Entertainment, David Madden, the option for more Firefly is on the table. There's only one condition. Joss Whedon has got to be on board if it's going to be made. So, we got some feedback from that. What?
I said, not gonna happen.
Not gonna happen. My guy's so big into the movies now, I don't think he'll ever return to television. And anyway, we got some feedback. First from Tom Outward Gulbranson. He says, yes, I want more a movie sequel or a reboot, if not a series, or a reboot/spin-off series. Could work very well. The Serenity universe is a big place ripe for picking human drama and adventure. I would also love to see what happened to River Tam and Simon. In a series, we could easily follow a new crew, but also find out what's up with Captain Mal and the others, even if it's just as guest stars or regular appearances. Well, I can always hope and dream.
Yep.
And we
Join the club.
Yeah. And then we got feedback from your good friend Bill Hensley.
One of my oldest friends, yes.
He wrote, I would love to see Firefly back. I think it should pick up where Serenity left off, but they could do some flashbacks to bring back Wash and Shepard book back occasionally. Maybe the operative could show up as well. And then he writes in parentheses, I would like to think that his exposure to the Miranda truth would turn him against the Alliance. And I read that and I'm thinking, oh, Bill, if I didn't love you already, I love you now. You are a big-time Firefly geek. The guy's a true brown coat. Yes. Awesome. I just have one little problem with them trying to bring that show back. Wash is dead.
Dead.
He is D-E-D dead. And to me, you need to have him back. Anyway, moving on. We did another story about how the TV series Gotham, they're going to be bringing in Ra's al Ghul now. Now that he's finally done his big run on the CW, they're going to be bringing him back, or bringing the character back in Gotham on Fox, and he's going to be played by Alexander Siddig. Dr. Julian Bashir from Deep Space Nine.
Hey.
And that could be a really good thing since Gotham appeared to lose its biggest villain in its last winter finale when apparently there was a Riddler versus Penguin battle. So what are they going to do? Well, they're going to be bringing in Alexander Siddig right now. And the guy, he's still kind of in demand. I mean, he didn't fall into the whole Star Trek stereotype like other people did. I mean, he's a very well-liked TV actor. He was in Game of Thrones. He was in Da Vinci's Demons, as well as Atlantis and 24. So he's going to be making an appearance as well. And if you want to read more about him, again, the link for that story will be in our show notes. Anyway, we got some nice feedback. First from Andrea Richoff, and she simply writes, fantastic casting. And then good friend Mark Biaggi writes, he's been playing a lot more villains lately. Now, I had to comment back on that to Mark, and I'd written to him and said, for someone who is incredibly nice, and he is, Alexander Siddig he is such an unbelievably nice man. You can't find anybody nicer than him. And I said, but he does play the villainous card quite well, and he does it with a certain quote-unquote suaveness. And Mark Biaggi wrote back and says, I think that's his other name, Suave McSwaverson.
There you go.
Yes, I like that. Next time if I ever see Alexander at Comic-Con, I'm going to say, hey, nice to meet you, Suave McSwaverson, and see what kind of reaction I get out of that.
Yeah. Get away from me,
yeah,
you crazy person.
Leave me now. And then finally we got a comment from fellow podcaster Brad Boyer, and he wrote, he was a real bastard on Primeval. That is true. And then he finished off with saying, I have his autograph from the early DS9 days before he changed his name, and he was Siddig Al-Fadil, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we ran a story about how Dimension Films has started production on a new horror film.
Dementia Films?
Dimension.
Ah.
It's a horror thriller called Polaroid, and it is going to be directed by and based on an award-winning short by Lars Klevberg. The film is going to be directed by Roy Lee, who did both The Ring and The Grudge. Oh, and also directed the Lego Movie, as well as Christopher Banger. And the basic concept is the story mixes elements of The Ring and Final Destination it's going to supposedly kind of create a really scary film. It's all about high school loner Bert Fischer, who has no idea what dark secrets are tied to the Polaroid vintage camera she stumbles upon, but it doesn't take long to discover that those who have their picture taken meet a tragic end.
Polaroid and vintage in the same sentence.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Thank you very much. In any case, we did get a comment from Mark Ross. People might remember we interviewed him a little while back.
Yes.
And he simply wrote, cannot do a film on Polaroid without James Garner. Microphone drop.
There we go.
And that is our feedback for today.
We want to hear from you if you have comments or questions or anything that you want to say about any of our articles, any of our episodes, anything that we run. Just, you can do it. We are glad to hear it.
Please.
Please.
We love the feedback.
Yeah, play nice. You can look up our Facebook page, TG Squared Studios, or TG Geeks Webcast, where you can comment on our episodes and articles we publish. You can even comment on our YouTube episodes or at tggeeks.com, and you could receive a shout-out on a future episode. You can also leave a voice message through Facebook, as well as call our listener line at 469-TG-Geeks. That is 469-844-3357.
Hi, this is Monica Demis. I'm the director of Lilith's Awakening, and you are hearing the Two Gay Geeks.
Now, we've got two more things to talk about. The first one, I imagine fans of Grimm are probably really torn over this story.
Yeah.
Because as we know, Grimm is coming to an end. In fact, as of the time this episode gets released, there will be only one
episode
more
left.
And I've been seeing a lot of posts on Facebook. There are people that are screaming for Netflix to pick the show up.
Oh, wow.
You know, but it's not going to happen for one very simple reason.
It's on Hulu.
Well, but they want more shows.
Right.
They want Netflix to generate more episodes.
Yeah, I'm afraid they're, well.
I don't think it's going to happen for two reasons.
Yeah.
One.
Two. That we just saw in last episode.
Well,
two huge reasons.
Two huge reasons. Yes.
We're not going to give it away, but.
No, we're not.
Anyway.
But the way the series is being written, it looks like that they're really tying up all ends. You know, all the threads are being tied up now, and it looks like there really won't be any place for the story to go. So I don't see they could actually do any more Grimm. But the other big reason, this actually should make some fans of this actor happy, and that's David Giuntoli, who plays Detective Nick from Grimm. He and Poppy Montgomery are going to be going over to CBS for a pilot called Mission Control. So what we really know about this, of course, Poppy Montgomery, she will be the female lead in this, and it's going to be written by Andy Weir and directed by, the pilot is going to be directed by Jeremy Podswa, at least I believe that's how it's pronounced. Mission Control revolves around the next generation of NASA astronauts and scientists who juggle their personal and professional lives during a critical mission with no margin for error. Anyway, Montgomery is going to be playing Julie. She is the flight director for the Durga mission. And Giuntoli plays Stevenson, an astronaut and the Durga mission's commander. The character was originally written. He was originally written as African American, but I guess they decided to do it. Well, I don't know. Maybe David came off as the better actor. Maybe it's possible that maybe after having done Grimm, they really liked what he had to offer, because he's kind of hot right now with Grimm being so exciting at this point. And they joined previously cast Nestor Serrano and Levi Feeler, Weir Kinberg, and the Brian Buckner, who's a showrunner. They will executive produce alongside Courtney Conte and Quan Fung of Sling Show, and I'm gonna ruin these names, Atia Sood and Charles Eagley. And Montgomery is coming off Poppy Montgomery. She's coming off a 4-season run as a lead of Unforgettable, 3 on CBS, and 1 on A&E. She is rep by ICM Partners, Framework Entertainment, Shrek Rose. Giantoli, whose feature credits include 13 Hours, is repped by WME, and Burnwick and Kovacic. I'm kind of excited about this. The thing that has me really boggled out of all of this is that this looks more like sort of a science-y kind of show, and yet CBS is calling this a drama. So I don't know what to think about that. I'm a little perplexed with it. Anyway, moving on to the final point.
Okay.
So, Power Rangers.
Power Rangers.
We just saw, we went to a press screening for Power Rangers. I've got the review up on our website, so you can catch it there. I will say, I liked this movie. I was expecting not to like it, because I did watch the original kiddie show, and it was very much a kiddie show. Some of it was good, some of it was not so good, but I did watch it. I'm actually more of a fan of the original Japanese Sentai series that Saban brought over and morphed into, you see what I just did? Morphed into Power Rangers for television. But I love the Sentai series. I'm a huge fan of those. So I was a little leery about what this Power Rangers film was going to look like. I liked it, but I'm really more curious as to what you think about it, because you came into that really blind. I mean, you really knew nothing about Power Rangers at all.
Yeah, nothing about Power Rangers. I just know that it was Power Rangers. So other than that, I really liked the film. I thought it was a great film. A couple of things were telegraphed, obviously, and there were a couple of slow moments, or a couple of moments that I thought didn't really have the gravitas that I thought should be in the scene. But other than that, I mean, it was just, those are minor trivial things. I liked the way that they let them become friends, if you will, a bit before they were thrust into this Power Rangers thing. But I thought it was really good.
What do you think of the characters themselves individually?
I thought they were good. I thought they kind of fit, and they were fit as the outsiders, if you will. Yeah, especially the autistic kid. You know,
well, I'm going to be honest. I liked him. I thought that was the character of Billy, the Blue Ranger. I really dug him, and I remember seeing trailers for the film before it was announced that he was actually, the character supposed to be autistic, and I kept thinking, oh, this is just gonna be lousy, because they're really playing for this really ridiculous, over the top comedy, and then when it was announced that, oh, he's actually an autistic character, all those comedy scenes finally made some kind of sense.
Right. Exactly.
And it didn't detract from it. In fact, it kind of added, I thought, to the overall story. And I like what you said about them being friends, because you've got your leader, the character Jason, who's the Red Ranger,
who's the jock. Yeah.
He's the jock. He's Dacre, played by Dacre Montgomery, who did a rather good job. And I was looking at this thing as, this sort of looked like the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
As superheroes.
Yeah.
And in a very weird way, it kind of is, because the way they all meet in detention.
Yeah.
So it felt like that, but at the same time, it kind of, that part worked against type. which I was happy about.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a lot
good.
of things that did follow cliche, which I'm glad they did, because if they had gone the other way, it just wouldn't have been that great. But to watch Jason and Billy become best of friends,
Yeah, that was great.
early on, in fact, was a really nice touch. What were some other things that you thought about the movie? I mean, I'm really curious from your point of view, being the guy who really knows nothing about Power Rangers.
I thought it was interesting the way they were supposed to be the Power Rangers, and then everybody, or what is it?
Zordon?
Zordon was like, who are these children, and this and that and the other, and really then when the other shoe drops and everything turns around, that they do fully become the Power Rangers, I thought was a really interesting plot device that they used, as well as the not having known anything about Power Rangers. Like I said, when all the Zords fell into the pit and then they came up as the Megazord, so that was cool. That was really telegraphed. I knew that was going to happen, but
of course
I didn't realize that was supposed to happen.
It was pretty telegraphed, yeah.
So, yeah,
but it makes sense. It's the heroes earning they're earning the power.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
not just bestowed upon them. I mean, they get a little bit of it when they discover these little relics, but for the most part, I mean, these are people that they have to earn the power. Now, I want to pose a question to you. One of the things that I noticed that's really a difference in the series, or the movie from the series, is in the series the heroes were so goody two-shoes.
Oh no,
They really
these
were
are not.
They were.
If anything, these kids belong in detention.
I know, exactly. I mean, no, in the TV series, they were, in fact, as I remember scenes, these are the good students, and I got Hulk Hogan's, the little meme that, or not meme, but he had this little slogan that he always said during his wrestling heyday in the 80s, eat your vitamins, say your prayers, and you can be just like Hulk Hogan, and that's what these kids are like, you eat your vitamins, say your prayers, you study hard, you get good grades, and you can be a Power Ranger. Yep. That's kind of the thing that they were giving us in the TV series, and here we've got something different.
Completely different. Yeah,
well, here we've got,
completely opposite.
In spite of your differences, in spite of whatever is holding you back, be it, self-perceived or foisted upon you by other people, you can overcome that and become the hero with, that still is within you.
Yep, exactly.
I mean, what do you think is the more realistic model? Like this really an obvious question.
Yeah, I think that, you have to overcome your own self-doubt and what other people think of you and what other people put on you, and you're a good person. Most people are good people. They just wind up in situations that are good.
And they start believing the baggage that the people throw on them.
And they do stupid things. People do stupid stuff all the time.
Yeah, everybody does something idiotic.
Yeah.
So
I do every day.
Yeah, believe me, I've got a list.
Wake up.
I got a list of my own stupid things that I've done, and it keeps growing every day. But we like the movie a lot. It's clearly screaming franchise.
Yeah.
No question about it. But yes, if you want to know more about what we thought about Power Rangers, yes, go check out the link for our review. It will be in the show notes.
Yes. And as always, we have our follow-up items. Check out the calendar on our website. If you have a birthday, and speaking of, I forgot to check the calendar. I just checked
Oops.
it. Mr. Miguel Rodriguez of Horrible Imaginings Film Festival.
I'm glad you brought that
March
up.
31st.
I want to give Miguel a really big shout-out.
Oh, yeah, he's lost 50 pounds.
Well, it's not just that, but he turned me on to something that I'm really, really happy about.
What's that?
The Shudder.
Oh, yeah, the Shudder.
Because when we were at Horrible Imaginings, one of the things, they were always running these little commercials prior to whatever block of films they were going to show. And one of them was for Shudder, which is an app that you can watch horror films, both new and classic. And that app is now made available on Apple TV.
Yeah.
And we recently downloaded that, and we watched Horror of Dracula just the other night, starring Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
Oh, my gosh.
And what a joy it was to watch that. So, Miguel, I'm really, really happy that you ran the ad for Shudder. I can't wait to watch more of those horror films through the Shudder app. Thank you very much, Miguel, and happy birthday.
Yeah, on the 31st. Also, just check out our calendar. If you've got a film festival or event, let us know. We'll stick it up there. And as everybody is aware, we are huge supporters of independent creators. And whether it's filmmakers, comic book artists, writers, regular artists, we found there's a tremendous amount of talent out there that don't get the big money or the fame, but are as talented as any of the big directors and artists out there. So if you hear about somebody that's doing a crowdfunding campaign for something they're working on, some kind of independent creation, please consider supporting it. You can usually do it for as little as $1 in most cases. I mean, it doesn't get you much, but you can be a part of something that could be big.
It could become something huge.
Please consider supporting independent creators. Phoenix Comic-Con, May 25th through the 28th, 2017. Yes, it has moved back to Memorial Day weekend.
Where it belongs.
Yes, and less PTO to take. Yay.
Thank you.
Keep checking phoenixcomiccon.com for info. Tickets are available, and I believe there's still some hotel rooms available. And an email just popped in. One of the people at Phoenix Comic-Con is replying to my email request for
an interview?
interviews. So
Woohoo!
we're going to be... not to give it away, but we're going to be talking to Matt Solberg, the convention director, here in a couple of weeks. So he's agreed to talk to us for a few minutes, and some of the others at Phoenix Comic-Con. So stay tuned for that.
Yes.
Verde Valley Comic Book Expo, April 1st, 2017, at the Cottonwood Recreation Center.
That's this next weekend.
Next weekend, and it's just $5.
It's worth it.
You can meet some wonderful people and some wonderful artists in a kind of a nice situation where it's intimate, and you can sit there and chat as much as you want, and get some autographs, get some art done. It's an amazing little con. It is a fundraiser for the Cottonwood Library, so please consider doing that. It's a nice drive up to the coolness again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And one of the neat things, you never know who you're going to stumble across. I mean,
exactly.
That's how we found out about Occupants, the movie.
Yep.
We became friends with Dave Beatty as a result of that, as well as Russ Emanuel and Eric Alexander. So I mean, we had no idea that just going to that little event, which you just stumbled across that.
Just stumbled on it, literally. Yeah.
So you never know what that's going to do for you. So that's a really great thing.
You bet.
Big shout out to Doctor Who Talking Who on Twitter. They published the Doctor Who Fancast Guide, and I say that we publish our stories, and they do. I mean, even just a couple of days ago, they published one of our stories, so we appreciate that. So they're getting a special shout out, and you can find the Fancast Guide by going to Twitter, and you can find Doctor Who Talking Who. They are at Talking Who. Also, there is the Arkle Times Post-Dispatch News that also republishes our stories. That is put out by our good friend Brian Weber, also known as Arkle. And you can find him on Twitter. He is the Nazi Punching Scald, and the handle is at Arkle. He also puts out the Incorrect Star Trek Voyager Quotes. You can find that on Tumblr. And, okay.
We don't have one for this time, do we?
There is one, but I'm going to have to bleep it just a tiny little bit. But this is attributed to Chakotay. And apparently Chakotay said, "You're on Dante's ninth circle of right now."
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but because that one probably doesn't, you need to get the dirty word in order to make that funny, I will go to the next one. And this one is from Janeway. She's surveying 7 of 9, Tom Paris, B'Elanna, and Harry Kim. And she simply says, "All 4 of you standing there doing nothing. You look like attractive yet non-threatening racially diverse cast of a CW show." Now we know who really said that. Anyway, check out the Incorrect Star Trek Voyager Quotes on Tumblr. Brian will appreciate you. Also, special thanks to Sci-Fi Obsession on Facebook. They always republish our stories and even our reviews. They republished our Power Rangers review, and I was very happy about that. They can be found at facebook.com/sci-fiob. That is SCIFIOB.
And we want to give a shout out to the Looky Show, the twins, Shasha and Dagmar. They're quite the pair. They do wonderful little reviews on their YouTube show, and they give us lots of love on Twitter. On Twitter, they are at Looky Show, and you can catch their YouTube channel as Looky Show. They do old movie reviews and some new movie reviews, as well as TV and some other things, and it's a great hoot.
Yes, and we would love a bumper from you guys. Really
Yeah,
would.
please.
And finally, a special shout out to the Facebook group, The Gay Geek, for allowing us to post our episodes on their page. Their URL is facebook.com/group/The Gay Geek, with the greatest of thanks to moderator Jeremiah Reeves for saying, okay, share your stuff here.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And we want to remind you to click on our Amazon ads. Occasionally we have widgets on the side and at the bottom of each article that we run. And we just thank you for your consideration. And lastly, please rate us on iTunes.
Yes, because the more people that rate us favorably, the better our name comes up during any kind of podcast search.
Yeah. Next time, we might have a little bit from Verde Valley Comic Expo, and then after that, we got Matt that we're going to talk to, maybe some others from Phoenix Comic Con. So stay tuned. All right, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for the Webcast episode. We have several links on the page to things we've talked about. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com. Or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I am Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
Cheers.